microphone. Change that. There we go.
I don't know which one it's going to record. Output, we don't have any.
Save.
Okay.
So that should be. Now I can go on. The reason I wanted you to do that is so that I can pull up.
So if I minimize that Hangout,
It's still recording.
okay. And if I go to options in here and make it full screen, okay.
All right, I really want.
You really want? I really, really want.
I'm not sure why. Hey, are you broadcasting?
Yeah. You don't see it?
Are you recording?
Well, it's not showing up. The settings set to private.
New live event, Google Hangouts on air. Oh, it doesn't say. It seems like I have no idea what this is doing. Because, all right, how many?
So go to the live events there.
Mm-hmm. Google Hangouts on air.
Would you click edit there? Okay, it's public. I don't know why I can't see it. All right, no, that's not one.
The streamer's current
hold
rate
on.
is lower than the recommendation.
Current what?
Stream rate.
Okay,
Stream
I've got
bit
it now.
rate.
I'm up.
Bitcoin?
I can
Why?
see. I can see you moving stuff.
Coinbits?
Yep.
Why are the stream rates not high enough? So you were worried about syncing the audio to it?
Yep.
We're not
Okay.
going to be like flying through the web.
No, we're not.
Right?
I'm
So
not worried
it'll
about it as much. So you can see me, right?
Yep.
So how do I get to the other Google? To this? Can you still see that?
No, I still have you on the other screen, the Granite Pop, because that's the one.
Oh, but can you see me moving around?
When you're on that screen? But
I am on that screen. I just clicked About Us.
Okay, now it's on About Us.
Okay.
Are we going to be okay? There we go. I see you moving around.
I got to use the restroom real quick.
I have a built-in delay. I think I have a built-in delay in it. Are we going to be okay?
With what?
All right, are we going to be okay?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I'm not happy with the technology, but we'll try it. So.
Are we recording?
No. I got to figure out how to do that. We are recording. Okay. So just before we start, I'm letting this record, but the whole idea of this is for us to do a couple of them
Yep.
and then to transition this to a new podcast by Savior Labs,
Okay.
the website rip apart kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, how we're going to deconstruct them and criticize them and ridicule them, etc.
Website murder podcast.
Yeah.
I like website murder. All sites matter is a good idea too, but a little too political.
All sites.
Not a good idea.
Oh my
I
gosh.
may have said it, but it was not a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I
And
think,
podcast idea shut down.
yeah. I don't know why Savior Labs stopped going. They.
Why
Got-
Savior Labs went out of business?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
So, all right. So, do you want to introduce?
That's my screen. Okay. So do we just want to introduce this? Like, hi, welcome to the Edge of Innovation.
Yeah, I'll do that. You want me to do that?
I can do it.
All right.
And do we want to call this reading the site, or just say welcome to the Edge of Innovation? We're going to be looking at a website today, a couple websites.
Well, you could say whatever you want to say. That's fine. I think the second is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Edge of Innovation, hacking the future of business. Today it is Paul, myself, Jacob, and Steve here in the recording studio to look at websites today. We're going to be reviewing websites and talking about what's good and what can be improved with them, and not only doing the front end look at them, but also the technical back end of the website. So, Paul, would you introduce us to a website we're looking at today?
Well, sure. First of all, the other day I had this thought where we would be able to sort of deconstruct a website live before millions of our studio audience, and so we're recording this on video. And if you're driving, you should be watching the video at the same time. But if you don't have the video now, you can look at that in our show notes. But basically, we're going to take different websites and deconstruct them. Say what's good, what's bad, and what we would do differently. And we encourage you guys to send in websites for us to look at. Our first one is www.graniteprop, GRANITEPROP.com. And it's a real estate investment, property management, and leasing advisory services website. So, as Jacob said, we have Jacob as our host today, myself, Paul Parisi, and Steve Miller, who is he was on our Pokemon team, Pokemon Go team, but that has since dwindled in popularity. The hype has died, and so he moved out of that system. And
the reality is his data plan got maxed out.
that's right, exactly.
So, Paul, could you kind of give us a rundown of just kind of like the basics of this website? And then I think Steve's going to give us a few of the technical ideas of what's going on here.
Sure. First of all, one of the things you want to look at when you're looking at any website is how much vertical space you use before you get to interesting content. This, I'm looking at it on a fairly high resolution screen. The recording you'll see, but you'll see really the upper third is dedicated to a changing black and white picture with a tagline on the side. Granite Properties, inspiring people to flourish through the places we create, which I think we found is it their vision or mission statement?
I believe that's their purpose statement.
Their purpose statement.
And we had to kind of dig around in the About Us section. We'll get there.
Right. And, there's a lot of words on here, and there's some rotating graphics and things like that. And up at the top left, we're going to jump right into this. There's a really cool thing that says view our live construction camera feeds. So, you could click on that and imagine that they're a construction company or read that. But they're really not. They look like, they say real estate investment, property management, and leasing advisory services. But yet when you start to dig into the site, it looks like they have a bunch of properties that they lease.
Right.
So they are a company that holds, big office building and will lease that to people. I'm just guessing based on what it says on their website.
Right. So it's not clear whether they refurb or do construction or do leasing. It's probably the latter.
Well, but they got construction. So I think they're doing, we're in New England. So there's a lot of different sites that have been old mill buildings and things that have been redone. And what are you doing there, Steve?
I'm paying attention.
Okay.
Sorry, I fell asleep there for a second. You talking about something?
But these old mill buildings have sort of reborn as beautiful apartments or condos or office buildings, and so maybe they're doing something like that. But I'm going to just click on this to show you, our viewers at home, that when I go to camera 1, I see a wall, a corner of a wall. It looks like an outlet in the wall and some sort of flashing light, signaling aliens or something like that. It's sort of scary. And I can choose camera 2, and all of the other ones, camera 2 through however many, camera 64, are all, say, stealth monitoring. And this is to me is not a great testimony here.
This feels like like CSI, like someone stumbles on a website and
yeah,
they murder on accident.
That's right.
That's what I was thinking when I first saw it. Then I realized the purpose of it. But
so, well, I'm not really sure what the purpose of it is, because it doesn't show any construction cranes or people putting up walls or putting in carpet or something like that, and it's taking up what might be the most valuable real estate on the website, the top left corner. English speakers read from left to right. So, and then we've got Granite over on the right-hand side and down a bit, and then they've got a 2015 award for best small and medium workplaces, which is great. But one of the things, a good friend of mine who's a serial entrepreneur, started 26 companies, says when you write an email or a letter, you want to count the number of I's and the number of U's. And the number of U's should be at least twice the number of I's.
Right.
that's good.
And this doesn't say that. It says, view our live construction camera feed. We're the best place to work. So it's like, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
That's what I really look at, and so if we click about us as we sort of dive into this.
Yeah, I did a website review for somebody one time, and I counted up the number of our pronouns on it, and there was, on every page within the footer and header, 16 hours. I was like, guys, nobody cares about you as much as you do.
They do. That's correct. So, jumping into about us, it is, again, they're reiterating this, I don't know, somewhat, they're creating exceptional work environments. And so does that mean they come in and design a building for a company? Like GE is moving into Boston,
right,
from Connecticut. Would this be a company you'd call that would be, the architectural firm to do that?
Right.
I don't think it is, but I'm saying that wording would evoke that to me. So we can dig through all of these, and but I'd like to take sort of a pause and talk about some of the technical aspects that are hidden to the ordinary eye. We've run a bunch of our tools on this from Google Site Speed, or what is it?
Google PageSpeed.
PageSpeed, yeah, and really very interesting things that are going on. So, Steve, why don't you summarize some of those?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, the website ranks rather low on PageSpeed currently.
What is it?
It's 40 out of 100. And
Okay.
just for context for our viewers, it's tough to fight PageSpeed. They're really hard on you. But your 95 is super well respected, and
Right.
80 is kind of necessary at this
Right.
point to get a good rank.
It's sort of like a grade in high school. I mean, an 80 would
gotcha.
be a B.
It's a good point.
And an A plus would be in the 90s. What is it again? A 40?
It's a 40, yeah.
A 40.
So
So
they'd be repeating the
you'd
grade.
have to repeat the grade. Yeah, you'd shame
This
and
website has been stuck in 9th grade for a while.
right. Okay, so that's now what that's measuring is how quickly that site will display on a average connection. So all of the different things that are required to render that site before it shows up and be usable, it's getting a 40 out of 100, which isn't good.
Yeah,
Needs to be improved.
What do they look for? Isn't it like 200 milliseconds before the server responds?
Yeah.
Like when you say, hey, server, I'm coming to your website, start sending me stuff, it expects a 200 millisecond turnaround.
Right.
Unfortunately, this site, so before it even starts loading, it says the server responded in 2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds.
So that's like a year or two in internet time.
Sure, it absolutely is, because people at about 3 seconds are going to shut you down. 2 seconds is really for the page has to be fully loaded, fully rendered in about
Right.
less than 2 seconds. So now if we were to look at that, technically, what's the problem here? They're on a slow server,
Okay.
basically. So, or the server is badly misconfigured. So go ahead. You had some other statistics.
Yeah. Sorry, navigating back to the page speed insights here. And now I don't know. I do know who's hosting them. It's a smaller host, but I'm guessing that they're missing some basic things they could do. I believe that they're running a WordPress site, from what I can tell, and they don't have most of their files and are not compressed basically on their server.
Mm-hmm.
And also their scripts are not minified. So with script, you can take out spaces, unnecessary spaces and returns to be able to save space on the load. And it doesn't look like any of that has been done with this website, which is unfortunate. That hurts page load time, credibility of Google.
When I loaded the page for the first time, I noticed that there was a picture on one of the pages. I think they About Us, and that picture sort of loaded and unrolled like a window shade slowly. I could see it sort of draw. What that means, that indicates, is that you're using a very large picture but telling it to render in a small space. So instead of you're taking an enlargement, if you will, from the old days and putting it into a snapshot or a wallet size. And so a lot more pixels and bits have to be transferred for it to display. So just simply sizing the images to the appropriate size would improve the performance and feel of the site greatly. So go ahead now. What else?
Absolutely. Looks like some for images and for scripts. There's also browser caching is not specified.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing communicating to the browser saying, hey, store this file for a certain amount of time to be able to load it faster if a client or an employee comes back to the site.
Mm-hmm.
Caching can be used basically to store things locally on the machine.
Yeah.
And that way it can load certain things faster and have a better experience once it come back to the site.
Right. So it doesn't have to load them because it already has it.
Correct.
It's cached it. One of the other things we like to do in looking at sites, we'll get into more technical things here, is there's a news area. And if you look at the news area, the last news item, or right now it is almost August, July 2016. And the latest news item is July 2015. So it's a year old. So that doesn't speak well of what's going on. I mean,
not to mention that the one before that is almost another year behind that. Yes. So the last two news items are from the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah. And if you look at it, so they had one in January 2014, 2 in January, 1 in February, 1 in August, 1 in September, and then we jump to 2015. So there may or may not be news, but that doesn't give a consumer or a buyer a feeling that this you might ask, are they still in business?
Right.
Yeah, I was actually just about to search that, whether they are still in business, because the site's been so little updated.
Right.
The latest update I can find is that news. I looked at archive.org to see any site changes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a couple pictures have been moved around. No code's been modified in a while. It's been dead in the water for over the last year.
Right. So now, one of the other things that when you put your site out there, you want people to find it, you want them to comment on it, you want to engage with that, you want people to be able to say, hey, I found something interesting on here. And we use Twitter and Facebook and maybe even YouTube for that, to socialize things. They do have Twitter and Facebook, but it's at the bottom right, as you scroll down as far as you can get. And so, I'd really want to sit down with this organization and say, what's your goal of the website? What's the purpose of it? Is it to sort of cement a brand identity so that people can feel good that you're in business and you're here to stay? Well, this really doesn't do it with the news issues that we've talked about. It doesn't do it with the speed. And so there's some concerns there. The contact us page, on the other hand, is pretty good. It's very clear. I might make the text a little bigger. It's a little bit hard to read. A little friendlier, or especially the phone number. But that's nice. I can get all of their major offices, all of that. I might also go in here and have a contact form. That's not there. There's now. So what you're forcing me to do is pick up the phone or email somebody. And if I email Greg and in Plano, it might have to go to somebody in California. Now they can forward it and all that, but I would expect a form to deal with all of that.
Yeah, you want to reduce the amount of effort that you're requiring of your user, and by requiring them to open up their email, type out an email, do something outside of the window that you already have them in, is bad user design, and it potentially loses your business because it requires them to do extra work.
Right. Yeah. Every click that somebody has to decide to do reduces the effectiveness 50% approximately. And so as you look at this site, the About Us page has, and I'm clicking on it, and you can see the delay in it, has 6 subcategories. So, there looks like there's a lot of depth to it. But it's slow. It's slow to get in here. I click on expertise. I've got another 6 subcategories. Properties. When I go into properties, I have a nice, extruded map, and I can click on Atlanta, and I can load this. It's very slow, and it shows me a nice robin's egg blue area, which happens to be the middle of the ocean. If I drag this over, you find out that well, here, let's zoom out actually. Yeah, so here we are. We're right in the middle of the open, super zoomed in, which, I think it'd be better to, really be looking at the Atlanta area with all of the different icons just around there. That would be certainly more effective than what it is. So what's interesting to me is they've obviously put some money and effort into building this.
Mm-hmm.
And launched it at some point. I don't know what the copyright date at the bottom was.
I didn't see a copyright on the bottom.
It's been about the same. I was thinking through archives, and it's been about the same for a year or two at this point.
Okay.
They've been on the web for a while, actually, which is interesting. They go back to 99.
Okay, so they see some value in a website, but yet they've got all these broken things, or things that aren't really thought through. And one of the things that we notice as consultants in this area is people are just too close to it. Yeah. And they overlook it. They filter it. It's like, you don't see the things in your own house that are out of place because you're just used to that. And so having somebody come in that's detached from it and say, what do you mean here? What do you hope to get? And also, to be frank, I think there's too many words.
Yeah. I think they do. It's poor space management on the website, mm-hmm. because, you come to the website and the first thing you're drawn to is the top section. And what you see in the top section is this video camera icon that is not really, it's not clear what it's helping to bring you into, mm-hmm. and what story it's telling you.
Absolutely.
And then you have these kind of randomized pictures. I'm not sure, are these the owners, the board members, the employees, are these customers? What's the relationship between these people and what you're actually trying to bring me into? And then it's poor space utilization with the purpose statement. Because if that's your purpose statement, you want everybody to get that nice, big, and bold right up front. And it's a bit kind of subdued.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's very passive.
Yeah.
And it's...
and the colors reinforce the passiveness.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of website design and psychology, blue engenders trust, which is good for somebody that's doing property management. You want that to be a subliminal message. But the blue is almost a bit too understated. Towards the passive. Yeah,
and it's also contrasted with this red over on the right, the great place to work. So it's sort of like, is trust the most important? But then I'm distracted by it's a great place to work.
Right.
As opposed to what do I want as a business owner? That's great that it's a great place to work, and that's a good thing, and that means that the people that are going to do services for me and deliver the product are going to be happy about it.
Right.
But what are you guys actually doing for me?
Right. It probably communicates company stability for the long haul.
Yep.
But in terms of the immediate first 30 seconds of the website or first 10 seconds of the website, you're trying to pitch somebody that you can do investment and leasing, property management and leasing best.
Right.
Rather than a company that has good services for their
right.
employees.
And it's striking me here. There's no video either.
Yeah.
Now, video is a leading idea. So if they did this a year ago, they might not have thought about this. But I gotta think that some of the principles in this company can be compelling in why you should use them. And I think that's a critical thing to get them to do in a small, short 15-second video.
Yeah.
Or a video of some of their clients.
Yeah.
To say, we were struggling with this, and this, and Granite came in and fixed it. you know, and gave us this solution. I just think that would be overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
And those things get socialized as well.
It's interesting. So this is a small to medium business. I'm just, as I look through things, I can't predict everything that's going on with them. But if you look at the Fortune review that talks about them being a good small medium business, their employee to revenue ratio, I mean, they're making a lot of money. And it looks like, as I look through news articles, they're pretty reputable in the industry. They're building important things on a regular basis. What strikes me is it's possible that they think, okay, well, we're making good business. Why would I improve my website? But, you know, it's funny. I was talking to one of our clients the other day, and I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but he looked at me and he said, you know, if someone comes to your company and asks you guys, you want more business? Are you going to say no?
Yeah.
Are you full up, or do you have room to make more money?
Right.
Like, well, we would say yes all the time. You know, we're there to make money. We'd hire more people if more people came. And so I think that it's possible that in the web area, they're sitting contentedly on what they have. They say, we make a lot of money. We're well known in the industry. Why would we need a better website? It's like, well, you don't know who you're missing by investing in the website. And a web is an easy outward marketing tool. Honestly, they could be making more money. I don't know enough about the industry to say what it could enhance, but they might be sitting on an easy resource here.
And their website could utilize them to be a more established expert in the arena. But from the look of their website at face value, to me, it does not strike me that they would be an expert that, for example, I would want to invite to be a keynote speaker at a conference or something about this sort of issue.
Right. Well, certainly not by the website. It would have to be some relationship you had external to this website.
And the unfortunate thing is that, for example, if I were in the audience of somebody that were speaking from this company and I went to their website, there would be a very severe disconnect, because I'm sure that their employees and their leaders in the company are highly competent, highly established, and highly knowledgeable in their area of expertise. Their website does not back up what I'm sure is the truth about them.
So now I've sort of transitioned just to their Twitter page. They've got 1,800 followers, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I saw that.
They got 629 likes. And they've got tweets as late as July 18th. So somebody's tweeting. July 18th,
yeah,
July
I find
13th.
that interesting that there's a disconnect between their news feature on their website and their news feature or their Twitter feed.
Sure. I mean, they should be commingled at worst.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, at least put the tweets in the news feed. So let's go back to the site. Now, some of the more, you had said, Steve, and you did some analysis, it's an older version of WordPress that should be upgraded, or
yeah, we had a little discussion beforehand. We're like, should we discuss this? You know, it's an old enough version that there are security liabilities. But then we said, you know, it took me 30 seconds I didn't know off the top of my head how to see the version of WordPress.
Yeah.
It took me 30 seconds to Google, how do I see this? Okay, I found it. Okay, I found the security liabilities. So I'm not worried about throwing it out there, just generally. And that's a concerning thing for your business. I don't know what important information they might have stored on this. There's, you know,
or it might be defaced and reputation suffers and things like that. So,
yeah, exactly.
And, you know, so as we were talking about it, it was, you know, should we say this? Well, all the bots out there that go and seek to destroy websites will crawl this site, whether we tell you it's, you know, WordPress 1.0 or WordPress 4.0.
The bots listen to our podcast.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that. But, so the bots have already found it. You know, there are some exploits. You don't seem to have some of the more exploitable things enabled, such as comments and things like that, which is great. But again, you know, it's something that, you know, there's a lot of business owners who want to buy a website and be done. And that is just not the way the world works anymore. Right. I mean, it doesn't.
Every 18 to 24 months, you need to be updating your website.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's critical. But I think what's even more important is you really have to come to terms with maintaining it.
Yeah.
Putting news in, putting things that change. People, I mean, if you went to the store, you know, and you think of the old stores that had window dressing, and they always had the same display there, you would eventually not see it anymore. And so a website is very much like that. You want the new model to be displayed. That's why they come out with new cars every year.
Right.
You know, not because we need them, but because people's interests are wane.
Yeah.
And that's critical. So, you know,
so that would either mean that we are trying to encourage people with that specific point to have somebody on staff in the company who does it, or, for example, hire us at Save Your Lives to be able to manage their website for them.
Well, I think there's
Plug-in.
I think there's a lot of different ways to think about that. The problem is you need such a broad spectrum of skills. It's rare to find them in one person.
Mhm.
And if you are able to find them in one person, you're probably not going to want to pay them the amount that they're worth or enough to keep them over
Right.
time. So, I think more so, one of the things I always I joke about is, why don't the schools and the towns schedule for maintenance, budget for maintenance on their buildings? Because they know that in 30 years they're going to have to build a new school. So why don't they save 1/30th of the amount every year and put in an amount, and at 30 years, we got the money in the bank. Sounds logical. It sounds like, what we should do. In New England, you have to replace your roof every 25 years. And if a roof is $20,000, you save 1/25th of that. Well, that's discipline. But in business, we actually do that. We plan for capital expenditures. We plan for budgets, things like that. And I think the website has to have a line item. It might be under the marketing department,
Right.
but it has to be something you're committing to. We frequently meet with people and we sort of ask them this question: are you planning to stay in business, or are you just in this for the next 6 months or whatever?
Right.
And it takes them aback. It's like, well, yeah, we really are trying to stay in business. Okay, so what are you going to do about that? Are you going to invest in technology? Are you going to invest in websites, et cetera, et cetera? So those are the kind of things that I think are critical. So you asked, do I hire somebody? The problem with hiring somebody is that expertise can walk out the door at any time.
Right.
In the best case scenario, you get somebody, they want to move, it's no animosity. They're just moving somewhere. So that gets difficult. Well, we could hire them remotely, et cetera. And there are a lot of people that work that way. There are lots of organizations like Save Your Labs that are out there to help you do that, to hold you accountable. And also, I think more importantly, the difference is if you hire an internal person, they're an internal person. They view it with the mindset of your company. If you hire an outside person, they're bringing it like, well, why in the world would I want to do business with you?
Mhm.
That's a great question to ask, because if the website doesn't answer that, there is much less likelihood it's going to convert people.
Mhm.
And one of the other things that, just to be very clear here, if we look at this website, there's no call to action.
Yep.
There's nothing saying to the user, to the visitor, this is what we want you to do here.
Right.
And so, when you plan for no results, what is it when you plan? What's the
You don't plan, you don't get anything.
yeah, planning to, if you don't plan to succeed,
You'll try again.
yeah, fail. If you
You'll
fail to
try
plan, you
again.
plan to fail.
Potentially, like,
That's
yeah,
it.
That's right.
if you don't plan to quote the quote, then you're going to
That's
mess
right.
up the quote.
That's right. If you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. I don't know.
So one of the dynamics that we discovered on,
Hold on one second. Can he do 5? Ask him so we can get another 20 minutes, if it's okay. Seems distraught. Go
so
ahead.
one of the dynamics that we were noticing on the website is the mobile accessibility, or
Right.
mobile version.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things with that we noticed. One is we made the browser smaller. I don't know if this will work with Google Hangouts. No, it won't. Let's take it out of Zoom. And I'm going to go and make the browser smaller. And you notice it's not responsive. It doesn't respond or change size based on the browser window.
Uh-huh.
So that's one thing that is sort of silly. So if you open it up and you make it smaller, it doesn't reform to look good. But if you open it up on an iPhone or an Android device, you get a completely different site with a colorful menu that says, a big building picture that says Granite underneath it, and then 5 bands of color, about. And I click on about, and I go to a basically blank white page that says Our Purpose. And no navigation, nothing. So now I have to go back. So they probably got sold a mobile version of a website by some person that came in and said, we can do a mobile version of your website
Or
to
it's,
convert a few pages.
or sometimes I've seen where people just have like a plugin that you put on your website
Mhm.
that basically kind of strips it down to like the bare essentials of like 10% of the website,
Right.
and it makes it a mobile version.
that's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not going to make somebody think, if you were to judge Granite by their mobile website, you would not have as good of an experience or judgment as the desktop website.
Right. And not to mention that, I mean, in terms of finding a solution, this sort of thing is super easy to do. I mean, in terms of making a mobile website, it's a bit phenomenal to me that there's quote mobile versions of websites today when it's so easy.
Well, it's I don't know that it's easy. You have to think through how things rearrange. And so, you know, if you've just finished a website and somebody comes to you and says, hey, it doesn't work on a mobile phone, you're like, oh man, we just thought that was done. And that's the thing I think, you know, I was hinting at earlier is the people were thinking this is done. Now, okay, we know we just talked about mobile and all that, but I'd want to say, how long is it done for? You know, is it done for 18 months?
Right.
And if we want a new one in 18 months, are we willing to start 12 months into this or 8 months into this to give somebody a chance to build it again? And then you sort of, well, you almost reduce the time to say, well, just let's continuously improve the website and do things and have a new website rollout every 18 months. But, you know, somebody in charge of content, somebody in charge of all of the news, etc. Steve, go ahead.
I was going to say a big thing to jump back is really that getting a fresh view on your website, the internal versus external view. It's very easy to get comfortable. So I remember working on a website that I had worked on for a while for a client, and someone else sat down and reviewed it basically with me that had not looked at it before, and just pointed out all these obvious things that I sat there. I mean, this is a website for a client, not for a company I work with.
Right.
So I'm not even directly connected to it, and it had become so internalized how it was to me.
Yeah. And
when someone sat down and said, "Oh, this could be better,"
yeah, you become blind. Like, you become blind to it.
It was revolutionary, and it shouldn't have been. It would have been. I might have seen the same things, but
Did I hurt your feelings, Steve, when I sat down and did that? Was that me?
I don't think.
Okay.
No, that was when you were talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to give you the credit.
Yeah, for me, even with organizations that I'm involved with, even though I do web design with Savior Labs, I actually don't do the websites for organizations I'm involved with because I'm too close to the heart of the issue, and I'm too blind, like you're talking about, to the very things that I want to be prominent, and I get too familiar with it.
Yeah, there's a great joke post on Medium.com the other week. It was a fake chain of emails from the CEO to the
yes, I saw that.
Yeah. we should put that in the show notes because it's beautiful, and it's just, you know, it's the CEO emailing the whole company basically like, hey guys, I read that words on websites are bad. Take all the words out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like 3 hours later, just kidding, put the words back on. Just like, and, you know, by the end, he's put everything back the exact way it was. But it's, you know, you get worried when people that close to it are making all of the calls for the website because it just becomes personal preference and blind to it.
So for the website itself, for Granite, if we were to be doing work for them, or we were to give them, you know, a few key ideas of how to improve the website, what would be a few takeaways? Because we mentioned that there's a server issue, there's compression dynamics that are off. The news feed is not synced between Twitter on the website. Contact form, site itself is a bit dated. What would you go with, Paul?
Well, I would certainly do, you know, the emergency response would be to fix the speed. I mean, those are easy gimmies, you know, make sure the images are optimized. Everything's optimized so it loads as fast and as snappy as it can be. I would probably remove the camera feeds thing immediately. I might, you know, have a discussion. I wouldn't change the whole design. I think it should be responsive,
right?
But that would be more of a second or third tier.
Yeah.
I would probably try and reduce the amount of vertical space that's lost because, you know, that's the most valuable space up there. I think it would look a lot different if you just took everything off of that first ½ inch up here at the top and almost just cut it out and pushed it right up against the browser bar.
Yeah.
So those would be the first things. You know, some of the making sure that somebody is adding new news.
Yeah.
Let's unify the Twitter feed and the news feed. I think that would be tremendously beneficial. The other thing is, you know, there's this whole concept of inbound marketing.
Right.
And in the old days, you'd have outbound marketing where you would, you know, say, you go out to somebody and you say, please come and to my store or whatever it is. Well, inbound marketing is different. You motivate the consumer to come in.
Right.
and to get something. And usually it's free. It's sort of like in retail where you say the first 500 guests will get a free steak,
Right.
buy one get one free or something like that.
Right.
So what's happened now is this inbound marketing is you write an article or an ebook or something that is of interest to your
Right.
target audience, and you
Right.
basically show that to them and say, hey, come to our website and download this
Right.
and give me your email. They
Right.
pay with an email.
And with this company, it would seem to me that, if they are a leader in their field, and for example, they have, best practices or one of the best places to work, it seems to me there's at least 2 or 3 ebook ideas there for how to do best practices for, the leasing services that they do, the type of clientele that they reach.
Mhm.
And then also there might be an ebook for managers and CEOs of how to run a company that wins these sort of awards of like best practices and
Right.
best, so that you are appealing across the board. And that's just 2 or 3 basic ideas for ebooks.
Absolutely. I mean, ebooks, they're incredibly effective. And I think that there's lots of opportunities in real estate management.
We have worked with it's called a vertical, right?
It
When
depends.
someone's in a very niche
Yes,
market.
yes, it
We
is.
can cut that out so I don't sound too dumb.
Okay,
right?
that's fine.
So obviously they work in a vertical, like a very niche market.
Yep.
And I think that in some ways this company or other companies like this might sit there and say, no, you don't understand, our clientele are very defined and esoteric,
Right.
and we don't have a lot to gain. And I would kind of push back on that. And I would say, I bet you have some low hanging fruit that you're just not picking right now, that you're ignoring.
Yeah.
And they've got a video linked on their front page actually, but it's like bottom right. And they can make that, they can embed that on their site on the top to watch who is granted.
Right.
They could make a call to action. Maybe it isn't the typical contact form or free thing, but it could be, here, read our long description that most of our customers read about how we technically build things. It could be different for them. They probably do presentations. They could offer their presentation slides in exchange for an email.
Easily turn those into things.
There's a lot of stuff that we would modify somewhat for them because, they're not going to, average Joe on the street's not going to stumble across their site and say, I want a residential building or I want a professional building. But they are going to say the businessman might be more swayed by easier access.
Yeah, and I think that pointing out the CTA or the call to action, I think that would be one of the main things I would want to drive at for improving the website is, what is the call to action you're calling people to? What do you want them to do with the website? Because otherwise, it's kind of a glorified business card if you're just kind of saying who you are.
I agree with that, but I was just thinking about this the other day, glorified business card. Is this supposed to be a business brochure or a business book about your business?
Right.
Or is it supposed to be a business card? Or is it just to be a pamphlet?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has to be all of those things because
Right.
there's different levels of engagement. And, one of the rubrics of inbound marketing is it lets people come in and grab onto whatever level they want of interest.
Yeah.
So, you can have a site. The problem, I think one of the problems with the site is it forces you to consume too much.
Right.
You need to understand way too much to get to their value proposition.
Right.
And that a lot of people aren't going to invest that time and energy.
Right. You have to think about who your clientele is, what do they want, and then
Right.
speak specifically to those needs.
Absolutely. And make it crystal clear.
Yeah, laser sharp. It has to be laser
Yeah.
sharp to what you're messaging them with.
Right.
Excellent. Thanks, guys, for talking about this website. And we'll have another episode about understanding what's going on with websites and the dynamics of the technical side and the customer side and how to improve that on our next episode of The Edge of Innovation.
Dun, dun, dun.
So do we want to do another one or do we want to...
Do
Uh,
you usually sing that outro?
Welcome to the ending.
Definitely not what our outro sounds like.
so what is this? Is not an audio file. Okay. So what do we want to save this one as?
Awesome one.
Granite?
Yeah.
Granite? What was it called? Granite what?
GraniteProp.com.
Prop. Site review. Okay, let me go check with Mike so he doesn't have it.
Is he having a conniption fit?
It might be on the verge.
That's pretty good.
I think we'll get better
I
at
don't
it.
shaft them too hard because they're clearly an industry leader, but they could improve their website though.
I think we should do Sage, Ready, and Company.
I think we should do that crazy farm buying site. That'd be awesome. That would actually be an interesting one to do. Be like, you could talk about different things off of that because it was viral. A lot of inbound links that are from Reddit of people featuring it as just a crazy website or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a sort of thing where like they almost obviously it just very intentionally just went for the most ridiculous website they possibly could.
I think we should go after Blue Cross Blue Shield next.
Really?
I do.
Are you serious?
Yeah, their
Is their
website's really
website
bad.
bad?
Yeah.
Is that your insurance or
No, it isn't. But
because of their website? What do you think about it?
I don't know.
You're gonna run the diagnostics on it real quick, Steve?
Well, I mean, technically, it's both an e-commerce and a management site. I'd struggle to be hard on those things. That's tough to get those working perfectly.
Yeah.
But
It's an e-commerce site.
I mean, you can purchase insurance there.
Yeah, but that's an afterthought.
HFeed Insights is deprecated.
I want to be deprecated.
I'm feeling deprecated.
Defecated?
Oh my gosh.
Attempting to load the page reached the limit of 3 client redirects. This may indicate the page is redirecting to itself or has a loop of redirects.
Okay.
We're not recording anymore.
Ever.
Yell it. You can yell at Paul.
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Good. 5 is right out.
Excellent.
Except in this case. Google, don't be a button.
Okay, you ready? Have you run that yet?
Are we recording?
No, we're going to in a minute.
Oh, I can't get it to run. Hang on, let me try GT metrics. Am I doing the full research here?
No, but I don't know what you're doing. But what about that tool, the web
Just
thing?
do your thing.
It comes back as too many redirects.
Are you serious?
They might be looping a redirect on top of itself on accident.
That's a problem.
I found something about Leviathan on Wikipedia.
Sure.
Speaking of Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Leviathan is a sea monster referenced in the Tanakh, or the Old Testament. This word has become synonymous with any large sea monster or creature. In literature, it refers to great.
It's too smart for itself. It just shut down.
All right, are we ready? Have you been able to run page speed on it?
Fetching site.
Wow.
I'm working on it. Okay, we're getting something in a Y slow here.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead?
What do we talk about?
Oh, well, I got to start the recording.
Welcome to the edge of innovation.
Everybody, sing along at home. We have an album coming out for your family sing along.
Never.
Testing 1, 2, 7. Okay, intro.
All right, so we're still okay. There we go. We got it up on YouTube. We're good to go. Welcome to the Edge of Innovation. Today we are talking about hacking the future of business. Nope, not going to do that. Welcome to the Edge of Innovation, hacking the future of business. Today we are talking about websites. We're reviewing websites, best practices, and the way we can improve websites. It's Paul, me, and Steve today, and we are picking up where we left off last week, and we're going to be reviewing Blue Cross Blue Shield today. We are taking on the big guns.
Well, yeah, I guess they have guns, right? I don't.
Well, I guess they're a hospital.
They're not supposed to have guns. I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get into politics. But anyway, we thought we'd review the Blue Cross Blue Shield site. That's bcbs.com. And when I first looked at it, it's got these big hero images that fade behind with white overlay text with a little bit of shadow. An encouragement to visit your local Blue Cross Blue Shield company, because Blue Cross Blue Shield is a bunch of different companies under one name, each state or even multiple in the states. They've got a menu up across the top: shop for health insurance, already a member, find a doctor or hospital, Blue 365 healthy discounts, media center, and why Blue Cross Blue Shield. And so, it's interesting. And over on the right-hand side, I can shop for health insurance. I'm already a member, so I've got already a member in 2 places. And so I basically have 2 menus. which, is interesting. I'm not sure why people need two menus, but I, having been a human most of my life and having health insurance for most of my life, the thing that you typically want to do is call them. So, okay, this is great. Contact us right there at the top. And that's great real estate. But I come in here and there is no phone number there. And I can, I got to go to locally operated and all these different things. Okay, so I go here.
Phone number to deliver you straight to the whole line.
That's right. So I click on the local ones, and I can go down to all of these cities and all this. A lot of scrolling. I gotta imagine this could be a lot easier to use. And I'm really not sure why somebody would want to tweet that article or like it. I mean, it's 111 people have liked that on Facebook. I got to really ask them, what in the world are you thinking about? Or shared this on LinkedIn. I am sharing the page that is the contact numbers for Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
That does seem a bit odd.
It does seem a bit odd. And, so it's weird, and I'm in the about Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I mean, again, usually when you need to call them, it's because something hard is happening. You get a bill that you didn't expect. You need services,
right,
and they should make that instantaneous. Give me an 800 number, and they take my phone, my number, or even track my phone number and say, oh, you're in Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. Let's get you right there right now. This is not a small company, so guys, what do you think initially?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the phone number is essential because, to get their phone number, for example, I go to gethuman.com and I immediately get their customer service number, huge text at the top. I shouldn't have to go to Google and then another website to be able to get the contact number for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
So now Steve's taking his Blue Cross Blue Shield card out.
I mean, I'm
looking at the back of it.
I should have timed myself to see how long it took.
I think that took you about 8 seconds.
There is a number on the back of my card.
Yes.
Which, I should be able. That should be like on the front of their website or in the contact us area. If you have a card, the customer service is on the back of it.
Right.
That's a little aggravating. And I think, okay, so there's two sides to it. One, Blue Cross Blue Shield wins by the fact that it's a monolith. So people are going to come to this website and use it regardless of what they want to do. On the other side,
or not, or they may just not go to the website.
That's true.
Because you made a very important point here. They're going to use it for what they want to do. Let's talk about that after you finish your point here. What do they want to do, and what does the site offer them?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking, so, I went to my wallet to pull out my Blue Cross Blue Shield card because I got frustrated with the site.
Right.
And part of that is usually hospitals and medical things are already associated with frustration and long holds,
right,
and difficulty.
Right.
And you're calling in a time that something hard is going on in your life, probably.
Right. Presumably a crisis of some kind.
Right. Cutting out any difficulty, even as small as this, like finding a contact number,
right,
seems like it should be an easy instinct. Like this could be an easy small win for them. Oh, I can find the contact number right away.
Right.
No problem. Here's how I get in touch.
Absolutely. And then up at the top, we saw the logo, which is good placement of the logo. It's a well-worn brand, is very good. We've got contact us, and then we got careers. It's like, wait a minute, if somebody's looking for a career, that could be in the bottom footer. That does not need to be up there for the consumer. And then search, let's type in telephone, and let's see what it comes up with. So I get this 27 items found. I've got a glossary over here on the right, and it is virtually useless. I've got something, the first article is called Voyager. Cover your world, how to apply is this subset here. Then I've got Trekker, terms and conditions, Blue Card International claim form at A4. So, it's just like, how is this useful? Site search has to be curated. They shouldn't be allowing this deep search to be able to search for all these obtuse things.
What's interesting is, so I went up there at the top menu, and it says already a member, which is a question that you have to answer to get to Ask Blue. So you click Ask Blue, and that takes you to contact information. But it's interesting. I'm on the website for askblueinsurance.com, and it's frozen. Like I can't.
Oh my.
So there's some sort of coding issue going on here where I can either fill out and submit the form, but I can't close or look at anything. It's somehow frozen.
I was
Right.
about to make a Mac joke, but we're all running Mac.
Yeah.
Well, here, but just one second. I just noticed on here, there's no logo. I'm in the search and the logo's gone. So I don't know that I'm on Blue Cross Blue Shield. So and I can't go, I can click, but it doesn't show it. So now let's get back to this idea of why would you come here?
Right.
So, well, one of the reasons is you might want to shop for health insurance. Okay, that's a good thing, but honestly, I don't know. I'd love to see the demographics of how many people shop for health insurance. Most people are not self-employed. The majority get their health insurance from plans.
Well, and if they are self-employed, they're going to be going through the government provided websites.
Right. So that's sort of a misnomer. Already a member, as you said. We'll skip that for a minute. Find a doctor and hospital. Some discounts you might be eligible for, and then a media center, which it has news updates and press releases and media resources, and then why Blue Cross Blue Shield. And, I guess, I don't know, there is, and then let's scroll down. I scrolled down and there's these 3 articles that keep shifting. The cost of healthcare. This affects us all. Oop, it went connecting the dots with data. I just don't know how many ordinary people are going to come to this site and consume this type of data. Report on growing costs of, I can't even read it.
And they don't even have an option to pause it before.
Right. Well,
they
usually
should.
when you hover over it should pause, but let's click on this one. So now I'm in Blue Cross Blue Shield Access. I have no idea what Access was. I thought that was something in World War II. Connecting the dots with data. Okay. Blue Cross Blue Shield plans are changing the way healthcare decisions are made. And what is this Access? So I've got to dig into this, and they're trying to use good things, but it sounds like it's written by people that are really close to it. I just can't see if you went up down your street, knocked on a door of a neighbor and said, what do you think of this? They'd say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Why is this important to me? The real point here. So facilitating high performance healthcare. Blue Cross Blue Shield Access powers solutions that are changing how healthcare is delivered and paid for. Sort of business speak,
Right.
The pontification thing that's out there, and then I don't even know what Blue Cross Blue Shield. I can watch a video about it. That's cool. Well, let me go to about what it is. Oh, and here it is. So here's what Blue Cross Blue Shield Access is for everybody out there listening. With unmatched national breadth and local depth, Blue Cross Blue Shield Access puts comprehensive, reliable, and actionable data and information from more providers and more procedures into the hands of employers and employees so they can make better informed decisions on the cost and quality of care. How many times have you made a decision on the cost and quality of your care? You do what your insurance covers.
Right.
And if
I ignore problems sometimes. Does that count?
right, exactly. So I just don't get it, and there's so there's this sort of different worlds we live in, and I don't know who reads this. What world do they live in that they're reading this? So the Blue Cross Blue Shield blog, it said here, represented a new. I can't see it here. So here, I'll read it real quick here. Come on, go ahead. Slide. Okay. It's next. Oh, they have a speakers bureau. A wide communicate about the work we do. Stop by daily for the latest information on the Blues. So they want me to read stuff at their blog. Well, they have a Twitter account. Let's go see what the Twitter account was. They have 15,000 followers. I'd like to get in the heads of those people. Why are they following Blue Cross Blue Shield? I mean, it would be different if you got a $25 discount on your next doctor's visit.
Yeah.
Or, a 10% on your health care.
That feels low to me. I don't know top Twitter accounts.
15,000?
That feels for something that's as big as Blue Cross Blue Shield.
For a national leader in health insurance, 15,000. I mean, we have clients who have more than 15,000 in their radio shows.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I guess to me, they're not offering something that makes you feel like you want to follow them.
Right.
Maybe, if you scroll down to this, A Healthier Michigan, 5 lifestyle tips. It'd be interesting to dig into some of these. Well, it's retweeted 5 times. Then this one is Dakota.
Yeah. Good Mood Foods has been retweeted 11 times. So they have health. I mean, they have health related articles that they're tweeting, which I suppose undergirds.
Reduces their costs.
Sure.
Because they don't have to deal with sick people, supposedly, if they eat well.
Mm-hmm.
The chance of getting lung cancer in your lifetime.
So can I make comments as the youngest person in the room here?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm young enough that I'm actually still on my parents' healthcare.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be that young for very long.
Yeah.
You're getting older?
I am getting, surprisingly, I'm getting older at a steady rate.
It's weird.
So I went into, I want to buy healthcare. And I think I'm on tab 5 now, maybe tab 4 of clicking through before I got a list of available plans, basically. And it kind of just siphoned me. I feel like I'm a relatively savvy internet user. I kind of ignore a lot of problems that come my way when I'm using the internet.
You don't allow the speed bumps to get in the way.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think that's always a good thing, particularly when you're analyzing a website for a podcast. But so it took me 4 or 5 tabs to get the available plans, and the whole time I'm thinking, okay, I can survive until I saw the rates. But the problem is that healthcare is for all range and ages of people. And I'm thinking about accessibility here, and I'm thinking about
usability.
My grandmother, who is a widow at this point. What if she has to go in at some point and try to navigate this stuff? And it doesn't feel accessible. There's no, font change or style options or anything. There's no easy guidance for where do I go based on age or something like that. It's worrying to me in that sense. I'm not sure if it's because they can get away with it because they just hold a market share, or if they just don't care. I'm not sure what it is, but
yeah, I agree. And the fonts are small and they're tightly, there's bulleted lists and they're very tight and very densely packed. And it's not friendly. It's not unfriendly, but it's not as friendly as it could be. Now I can see you, Jacob, holding your phone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, so you can do the page scrunch and pull the window in to see that it's not responsive on a desktop, but you pull up on a mobile device and it's the same website, extra tiny, on a phone. Like there's no mobile responsiveness on the website. And you think about the people who are going to a website potentially on their phone for health insurance. Again, they're probably in a situation where they need quick information at a very rapid pace.
Right.
And the way the website, so we're already talking about this from a desktop perspective or a laptop perspective. You take that to a mobile phone and people are going to be really frustrated with this website. It's
an epic fail. I mean, it really is. I mean, this is not somebody who can't afford it. They should have a website on a mobile phone that works well.
Yeah.
Now they might say, well, we have an app, and that's another topic for another show, but you owe it to your constituents to have websites that work on mobile phones and on desktops, easily responsive, or separate websites if you must.
Yeah. I mean, I think for Blue Cross Blue Shield, they could very easily invest in a website that is responsive across all platforms.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not all that hard to do. I mean, it'd be interesting to do a spider of the site and see how many pages were in it, but I'll bet there's way too many pages in it.
Yeah.
I think it has to be really slimmed down.
Yeah.
Put that other stuff somewhere else, because I'd love to look at the consumption rates on the pages as well as how many people go deep on the site. Because I've found it where with the different healthcare providers, is you find something on their website and you bring it to their attention. Oh no, that's obsolete. So it's not even necessarily up to date.
Yeah, I think they need to, what would be good to see is they do need to have a lot of pages in the end, because they've got a lot of people they're servicing. They're servicing businesses, they're servicing individuals. I think this would be a good study in guiding people to where they need to go very quickly. Because you have to catch somebody on your main. You're gonna have to catch some people on your main page, basically, and filter them quickly to what are you here for? Right,
exactly. I think you bring out a great point. The site is not. Again, we talked about this in our last. It's not about Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's about what the person sitting in front of the computer wants from Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah,
that's a critical difference, and no amount of all that stuff. It's if I don't get what I want or need out of it, it is useless.
Yeah. It is interesting, so they do have, it would appear that they have Blue Cross Blue Shield by state
Yeah.
in terms of apps. So they have apps available for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Right.
But I would have never known that from the website. And I intuitively don't know
Right.
what exactly am I supposed to use the app for. Is that supposed to be my insurance card and then a doctor finder?
Well, and the other thing is that, we can geolocate. So why not, we see that you're currently in Massachusetts. Would you like to see the Blue Cross Blue Shield Massachusetts site?
Super
Your arm is
easy.
currently broken based on
Right.
the typing pattern.
Yes, yeah, exactly. based on a whole bunch of other things,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
want to have you as a client.
Yeah. Yeah, it is always fascinating to me when I go to websites that don't have automatic geolocator request information.
Well, that, and if your browser is in Spanish, make the site in Spanish.
Yeah.
And if I'm using a Spanish browser, it's incumbent upon me to figure out how to switch it into English if I need to. But the same thing, geolocation, you can argue, say, well, they might be in California on vacation. Well, then I can tell you that. I can say, no, I'm not there right now. Choose this one.
Right.
That experience should be frictionless. It should be perfect.
Yeah, it seems like in some ways, unfortunately, the website reinforces the frustration that a lot of people experience with health insurance.
I think it brings up more of what we're saying about people being blind to things,
Yeah.
being so close to things that they don't know they don't see what they needs to be changed. I need to go.
Okay.
You guys can finish this up.
We can
Follow
wrap-
up on those. Well, you can talk about those. Talk about those, the blind spot issues and being so close to something, and how it's helpful to have an external eyes on
Okay.
it. And even somebody outside of the industry
Okay.
would be wise, I would say.
Yeah.
Because they would say, well, we'll have our healthcare advisors look at. No, you don't want healthcare advisors. So anyway, good luck.
Peace out.
Peace out. Pizza out.
Pizza out. Please order pizza.
Thank you.
So I do think that we need to talk about some of the dynamics of how a user would engage with this and the blind spots. It seems just at a face level, it would seem like this website evidences the blind spots to how a user uses this versus what the company is trying to accomplish. To me, it would seem they need to have somebody do an outside audit and review of the website. Would
Yeah.
you have any thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, well, I was thinking, you and I work together, and often when I'm stuck on a website or stuck on a website idea, I'll just kick it over to you, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be pretty honest with me. You'll be like, well, you might be totally outside the purview of whatever project I was working on.
Right.
And you'll give me your 5-minute rundown of, okay, I don't quite get what's going on here.
Yeah.
Why did you choose this font? These menu items are really tight. Just kind of all the small detail things that
Yeah.
I've been looking at for a while and I might miss. And that's on a very small scale, might be
Yeah.
on a website for a small business or a person.
Right. Yeah.
I would be interested to see, did they run customers through this site? Did they get a collection of customers and offer them, $5 gift cards or something like that, $10 gift cards, and,
Sure.
and watch them and monitor them go through the site and see how that works? I
Yeah.
doubt it. I don't know. I'd be interested to know.
Again, it's a bit unclear as to what exactly they're trying to accomplish with the website, but in terms of the user experience or the IX, so to speak, they need somebody to do an outside review, and they need somebody who's an expert at how to understand that, because you can be a great business manager, you can be a great CEO, you can be a great executive, but if you don't understand how the massive amount of information that goes into how a website functions and is used by the user, how they engage with content, you will have a fail website, which is what we're seeing in some cases here. They need somebody to come in and tell them exactly how does a user interact with this. And this isn't like a small project. Like, there are companies that will run websites through not only, 50 plus different browsers to make sure that it's going to be accessible by all users, which is important because you're talking about a clientele base in this situation with healthcare that, frankly, older users are going to potentially still be using Windows 98 or older. They might still be using, Internet Explorer from 1994 and AOL,
Yep.
So
Put that AOL disk in the computer and
So-
install it again.
So you have to think about who your user base is that's engaging with the website, but then you have to think about how they are going to want information, and you might not actually have that expertise in-house. You need to hire somebody else outside to take care of your baby, so to speak, and to look at it to improve the website.
Yeah, there's a few things. Just to get a little technical here. There's a few things that look sloppy to me in web design. I'm assuming that BCBS spent a lot of money on this website. I'm just going to assume that straight up. I don't think that they're building it on some open source thing. My guess is they hired a team that built a custom site with custom administrative panel. I'm just going out on a limb here. I'm guessing. Just based on the scale of
I think
that's kind of big business tradition right now. It doesn't have to be, but that's a different topic. But there are just some things, they have. So I'm going to say they have 21 JavaScript files, 21 separate ones.
Oh, wow.
And so JavaScript basically is the code that runs in your browser. The server kicks over to your browser, and your browser says, "Oh, okay, what do I do with this? Oh, it tells me to run this little animation. Okay, I'll do that." And 21 is a very high number. I want to say 2 or 3 max is kind of what's recommended right now by Google. And it is difficult, but it's not impossible. And it's certainly not impossible with a big team. I'm saying it's difficult for one person, but I'm assuming they have a team working on this to compress that down into a file.
Yeah.
There's things like that. They haven't compressed some of their files. They don't use a content delivery network, which basically means have an outside source deliver your information for you at a faster speed.
So they host it.
Like
they host it all on the website.
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. There are things like that they could afford, but they're choosing not to for some reason.
Yeah.
It just, maybe they hired this outside firm, buddy trusts their other buddy, and then they hired these people and no one really has enough ownership of the site. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it needs some new external eyes on it to kind of pick up even those obvious things. It's like, okay, guys, got to compress the files.
Yeah, it seems like there's some basic things that are being overlooked here. And not to mention, hosting files outside of the server is in many ways standard practice. So
yeah, if you've got a bigger site like this, CDN is pretty essential.
Yeah. There was even it's very essential to how you function websites today, or functional websites work today. So it seems to me that for Blue Cross Blue Shield, their website, though they are an incredibly influential and important insurance company, their website is reinforcing some of the negative stereotypes about insurance companies. And it's not clear exactly what their call to action is on the website. Are you being sold health insurance? Are you being offered help for how to get quick information for your insurance? Are you being offered a job at Blue Cross Blue Shield? Are you trying to register your practice with Blue Cross Blue Shield? Are you trying to set it? It's not clear what they're trying to do. And understandably, they're a huge company, so they're trying to juggle many things.
Yeah. And kind of with our closing statements of like, what do we recommend?
Yeah.
What do we see? I'm going to take out on a limb here and actually recommend that whoever would work on this would take maybe a playlist or the playbook from Craigslist or from Reddit, something like that. Because, surprisingly, those are very cluttered. And I'm not saying it should be cluttered like Craigslist and Reddit are necessarily, but they both realize that, Reddit's the front page of the internet. Craigslist is basically the garage sale of the internet.
Yeah.
They realize, okay, we have a ton of options. So you land on Craigslist, it's like, all right, pick your state in your area.
Yeah.
We know it's a crazy page, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
Reddit, the top bar says it gives you all your popular topics, and then it's got all the popular topics of the day listed below there.
Yeah.
And to the typical user that goes to it and uses it regularly, as most people use their health insurance regularly too.
Yeah.
So this is a site that's going to be like that. It's not information overload. It's okay. I have a lot of choices I need to make, and I need to narrow it down to the correct ones.
Yeah.
And I think Blue Cross Blue Shield would need to think about, okay, how do we present a lot of information effectively up front? How do we begin filtering a person as soon as they land? Maybe it's the state they live in, like we talked about geolocation. Maybe it's saying you got to put in your, if you want to navigate more quickly, get out your insurance card right now, or tell us the state of your insurance that's registered in.
Yeah.
Just something simple to get us to a better place right away.
Yeah. I think simplifying the menu options, I think simplifying them down to and what you might call felt needs. What are the felt needs of somebody coming to an insurance website? Simplifying the menu options down, and then from those simplified options going into
I am injured.
Yeah.
don't feel good.
Are you bleeding?
Stop and go to the hospital.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to be improved here with this website. And I mean, I can understand the dynamics of building a website for such a large corporation But I think there's some basic ideas that we bring to the table here. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, if you want Save Your Labs to work on your website, we'd love to. We could do a great job at helping you reorganize this. But for everybody else who's watching and thinking about Blue Cross Blue Shield and what we can learn from them, I think there are some basic things for organization, menu management, what the company is trying to accomplish, what they're trying to ask you to do with the website that is, frankly, just a bit confusing. So thanks for listening to The Edge of Innovation. We'll talk to you again next week.
Just make it stop. Oh, it's on a different page. I should know that. So Audacity.
All right, so
To the. We got to save it to a USB stick, right?
we have to save it to the.
Is our stream done? Oh. Oh, did we not go live?
No, we were live.
We were?